As I've said previously, I was going to play through the new Kuju train simulator, later marketed by Electronic Arts, Trisynergy, and now Dovetail Games. The current train simulator can trace its origins to Train Simulator 2, which was developed by Kuju, by Aces Studio, and by Microsoft, as a sequel to Microsoft Train Simulator. When that project failed and Aces was shut down, Kuju continued working on it to develop Rail Simulator, which was then marketed by Electronic Arts. And there were different versions for different countries. You can see how the Deltic was not included with the North American version, and the Intercity 125 wasn't either. There are a whole bunch of omissions, which I don't particularly like. I like, having all of it available if I'm going to be spending the money. But in any case, Rail Simulator went through a number of successors, including Railworks, and eventually the new Train Simulator. And now Dovetail Games have taken over the project. And when I attempted to install my Train Simulator 2014 copy, they forced me to use this, Train Simulator 2017, which is more demanding on systems, and as it was, my computer wasn't really powerful enough to run 2014. In reality, you're only getting an account on Steam. So as you'll see, I had to do a very, very simple playthrough, and even then my computer just barely escaped damage. It grossly overloaded my computer, and my computer didn't have the safety systems in place to protect itself. So I was lucky that it didn't crash completely. Here are the system requirements. I suppose if you buy a new high-performance gaming computer, those are not excessive, 2.8 gigahertz processor and so on. Here I'm using Advanced System Care and Game Booster again to reduce the load on my computer, but I also have Real Temp on over in the corner there, same as in the OpenRails playthrough, because as you'll see, even with underclocking the processor to protect it, this nearly damaged the computer. I had to omit the introductory video as well, even though it's a really cool video, because it just kept freezing. There's a splash screen with a TGV duplex, ALP46, and a Deutsche Bahn class 145, I believe. And most of the game is based on your being a railway professional, first training and then working actual trains, so it has a storyline of sorts. So here I've already done some of the training missions, and I'm going to do the first one again as my playthrough, where they show you how to run the controls. There's the splash screen, which is an advertisement for Train Sim World, which will be the sequel to Train Simulator 2017. So here you drive an SD70 MAC from their trainer livery. Train Simulator Academy. And I don't think the instructions are so bad. I think it would be better if they would tell you what the keyboard shortcuts are for all of these controls. The graphics are quite nice. I mean, here I have them cranked down so low that they look like graphics from Orion Trains 2009. But I had no choice. I mean, because you can see my computer is already starting to heat up there. So, put the reverser in forward, release the automatic brake. I've never actually seen desk controls explained before in quite this way. American ones, anyway. I'm much more familiar with the AAR control stand and earlier systems. And the throttle opened up. The acceleration and deceleration of this SD70 as simulated seems extremely slow to me. If you have a one-car train, it can take 2 train lengths to stop from 10 miles an hour. which seems unrealistic to me. I know that they're trying to be strict and to make it difficult, but my own experience on actual railroads is that they can stop a lot faster than that. In general, American freight locomotives have more or less braking ability depending on how much weight they're pulling. So a one-car train, even a cold hopper, which is what they give you in the later training mission, it would not inhibit braking to the point where it would take 2 or 3 train lengths to stop from less than 10 miles an hour. Especially when you consider I observed that behavior when the train was in emergency. It may also be the lag of my computer too, because my computer is struggling to do this. And the only reason the temperature up there is even as low as it is that I've underclocked the processor on purpose. You can see it's holding down around 2.3 gigahertz there. And it can do a lot more than that, but it's a bad idea in this case. And I discovered some technical problems with the computer after closing this, so even with the underclocking, my computer was overtaxed by doing this. So you can see them giving you instructions there, explaining that trains take a long time to stop. That's true, I just think they've exaggerated it a little bit. A professional railroader who's done a lot of switching with individual loaded coal hoppers and 6-axle EMDs, generally heavier stuff than we handled on the Adirondack, might be able to clarify all this. But my own experience working on the Adirondack is that we could switch much more nimbly than that, even when we were handling freight equipment. And we had much more primitive trains too, of course. So it takes a really long time for them to give me the instruction to brake here. But interestingly, the independent brake, as used in this scenario, here I'm blowing for the crossing, it's following regs. Although there's so much lag, it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like long, long, short, long. But they eventually give you the instruction to apply the independent brake, and here it is. And this seems to be reasonably accurate. So I don't know. Maybe they just haven't simulated freight car switching very well. This seems to be more or less what I've seen in real life. So it comes down. Yeah, and see, it's responding fairly realistically here. That's a much more realistic rate of deceleration for these sort of medium to hard independent application. Now another thing too is you can look up in the upper right corner and you can see my computer is finally starting to strain and overheat. And perhaps for that reason, the fact that I've successfully completed this scenario is not recognized, so I'm left with no score. So it just hesitates and hesitates and hesitates and never gives me a score. So that's another case of the system being overloaded, I think. There may also be a bug somewhere in there, since I've already played this scenario, actually. But anyway, you got a chance to see the new train simulator. I have seen much nicer videos of this taken with much more powerful computers than mine. So I'm not knocking this simulator. I'm not saying it's going to wreck your computer if it's a powerful one. In my own case, this is more understandable that my computer would strain than it was with OpenRails, because OpenRails is sort of a simulator meant for everybody, replicating a much, much older simulator. Whereas this is supposed to be state-of-the-art, at least for hobbyists. So, anyway, get a powerful computer if you want to run this. I'm not recommending against it, I'm just adding that disclaimer. Thanks for watching.